information, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them and we take your questions. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guest on this episode is an artist, a creator of something known as GIFs, because GIFs are great. And it's not just about being simply GIF, okay? We're not talking about peanut butter here. We're talking about GIFs that entertain millions, if not billions of people around the world. And also, she is the runner of her own business and Danica McKellar, aka Winnie Cooper's new best friend, I should say. Please welcome Elizabeth Doss to the stage. Elizabeth, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Oh, yes. My little 80s heart loves Danica McKellar.
Seriously, who doesn't? All I need is a little help from my friends. We'll get to that later, though. We will get to that later. But I want to let you know that if you have any questions for Elizabeth Doss as you go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producer is going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of the show. We'll bring them up on screen, read them out loud, and present them to Elizabeth as best we can. But in the meantime, I want to go back for a minute here because currently this episode is being live and shown on a Throwback Thursday, if you will. So with that being said, I think we know the answer to one of these questions, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Elizabeth, what were some of your favorite movies growing up? Let's start there.
Ooh, favorite movies. Princess Bride, obviously, was family favorite that we would watch a lot. And I only had like one VHS tape of a Disney movie, which was Cinderella. And I wore that out. I would watch it over and over and over again. So I was really glad when Beauty and the Beast came out, just to give my parents a break from mice singing. But that's probably some of my favorites. And I'm all about, my husband and I are actually currently rewatching the MCU, the timeline order, because we've watched it, in the order that it came out. And so it's really interesting to go back and watch it and in the order of the timeline and all of those things. So we've had a lot of fun. Of course, Star Wars, all of it. I love it.
I mean, considering the host here in this case is wearing a Star Wars hoodie, by the way, hashtag not sponsor, is saying something. And that's very true. Well, how about this? Favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, favorite Star Wars movie. That's a hard one for me. I would probably go old school with it. Maybe probably Empire Strikes Back, I would think. Yeah, definitely.
That's the vast majority of people's answer to that question. Favorite Star Wars? Oh, yeah, it's got to be Empire. Well, why is that? Because it's the best of the trilogy. Why is that? Because it's the best sequel ever made. Okay. It's simple, right? There's do or do not. There is no try. So there you go. How about this? Have you had a chance to see any of the Star Wars television series, past or present? And if so, do you have a favorite that stands out?
Oh, that's a good question. We were actually talking about Boba Fett the other day and just how excruciating it was a little bit there. But I did enjoy Andor. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it was a little bit slow for me, but Mandalorian, we have enjoyed Grogu, and I was, I was here. James was telling me, my husband was telling me the other day that the pushback of bringing Baby Yoda back is he, isn't he? And they're like, we have to because people love him. So anyway, I think the new Mandalorian is going to be a lot of fun. So
it is. It very much is. And as a wise person once said, this is the way.
It is.
This is the way. And also, just for those of you maybe wondering, The Mandalorian does drop a new season on March the 1st of this year, 2023, on Disney Plus, which we are very excited to watch. Believe me, I'm excited. Mandalorian is great. I think the character is brilliant. It's original. It's fresh. Sure, there are familiar elements of Star Wars in there for good measure, but at the same time, it's his story. It's not connected to the Skywalkers. It's not connected to the Emperors. It's not connected to, Darth Maul, or some of the other characters that are heavily built into this universe, or this mythology, if you will. So that's why I love Mandalorian so much. It can stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah. And I love the lore around it and the just learning more about Mandalore and about all of the characters there and the dedication and all of it, learning how that whole system works. It definitely gives it more depth, even going back and watching, when they show up in the, whatever. Anyway, but I
Right,
have
Mandalore's code, their ethiks, their culture,
yes.
why they're built the way that they are, how they feel the way that they feel, why they keep their helmets on.
Yeah.
99.99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, even when you're going to the bathroom? Really? Okay. I mean, if you want to keep your helmet on while you're taking care of some private business in another area of the station, hey, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a weird thing here on the tracks. But with that being said, what are some of your favorite TV series, past or present? And we already know one of them is The Wonder Years, which, by the way, Wonder Years is one of the top 5 greatest TV series of all time, period. Not just sitcoms. It's one of the greatest of all time, period. Danica, we love you. We wish you the best. And congratulations on your new GIFs, because I know how excited you are to continue to use them on your social media.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as like my favorite shows, I think one that we watch on repeat is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know that sounds like really cheesy, but we love it. It's hilarious. It catches us. It's imaginative. We love it every time. So definitely that one. And then we go back and rewatch like Big Bang Theory and just to chill out too. You go back to like these similar shows that you've watched a million times, like The Office and other ones. Just they've become friends, and so you get to go visit them.
That's true. And speaking of Danica, she appeared on an episode of The Big
Yes,
Bang Theory. Have you seen that episode? Do you
I
remember that?
have. She was playing. She played a rock band or Guitar Hero. What is the with Raj? Yeah, they met at the party. Yeah, that one came
That's
through, and I'm
right.
like, hey, there you
I
are.
believe, yeah, at the party or the mixer. Yeah.
Because they mentioned her in an earlier show because
hmm
she is a math genius and actually has a theorem named after her.
She is.
Um,
Yeah.
and she's written several math books for kids of all ages, even through high school. So absolutely fascinating.
It's great, isn't it? Gosh, I haven't. Now, granted, I haven't seen all 22 minutes of that particular episode that guest stars, I should say, Danica, but I remember certain scenes featuring, what was it, Raj and
Yep.
Sheldon arguing over the Hulk hands and him wanting
Yes.
to possess those, and then Danica and Raj are getting it on in the recliner, and then the girl who's interested in Sheldon keeps telling him, "Hey, she's like giving him, these little signals that says, hey, I'm interested in you. Let's take this to the next level." And he has the Hulk hands in his hands, and he's like, "That's going to completely change my visits there." And then he looks at his watch. Well, it's late. Time for bed. Okay. Good night, puny human. And then he just gets up and walks out. And I'm like, this girl's into you. Like, she wants you bad, but Sheldon doesn't get it.
No.
He doesn't get it at all. And then the end of the episode, if you remember correctly, she knocks on the door and says, "Hey, your friends are getting their freak on in the other room. Is it okay if I wait in here with you while they're, finishing up?" He says, "I suppose. Come in. I'll sleep in Leonard's room. Good night." And then he just leaves her there and he walks out. I'm thinking to myself, how, like, this girl is into you and you're just not giving her the time of day, son. But then again, it's part of the character. It's part of the character arc that
Yeah.
he goes through until he meets Amy Farrah Fowler. We get it. It happens later in the series. I'm sorry. We're going off on a.
We're ruining it. It's been out for years and we're ruining it for everybody.
Yeah, we're spoiling some certain, what do you call it? Story elements of the show,
Yes.
or the sitcom rather. Knows the Big Bang Theory. By the way, they have reruns of that on like every channel on television. So if anyone still uses cable, check your local listings, watch a few episodes. I think you may enjoy yourself because there's some good nerdy moments in that show.
It's also
Other-
on
yeah.
HBO Max as well if people are looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good point. Thank you. And yes, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I do have HBO Max, so I am able to watch certain series or shows and movies and things like that. And that's nothing to sneeze at either. If someone has access to that, please, by all means, enjoy the content that's provided for you on these streaming services. There's some good things out there. Excuse me. With that being said, we are talking to GIF creator Elizabeth Doss. Even though we've been talking about Big Bang Theory for the last few minutes, on this episode of And I Quote, don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. Don't forget to like and share this episode. And also, if you have any questions for her, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being here and welcome. We hope you enjoy this episode and every other episode of And I Quote, which we do have a playlist for listed on our YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out after you're done watching this particular episode. But with that being said, Elizabeth, when did you specifically decide to become what is known as a GIF creator? Because I didn't even know that was an occupation.
Yeah. So I actually, it was several years ago, probably 5 or 6 now, but I was on Instagram and I came across a artist her name is Marina Martian, and she had just posted, she was like, check out my new gifts. And so I was like, wait, you can make your own? And so like I went out and started researching, making my own, and made a series of them, got verified as an artist, and played with them a little, but honestly, I forgot about them until about 2 years ago. I was, everybody's pivoting in this lovely season that we all just walked through. And so I began to look at, I was attending a virtual conference, and the gentleman said, look at where the attention of your generation is, look at the skills that you have in your hand, and lean into it. And so that week, one of the girls in my youth group came up to me and said, hey, this girl's talking about you on TikTok. I was like, what? And apparently my handle had gotten picked up as something that people searched to find gifts, and people kept talking about it and resharing it. And so when I logged back in after having left it alone, I had over 3.3 billion views on my gifts, and now it's over 4 billion. But it definitely has that attention getting part. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to investigate this. So I started this journey of thinking about how and started researching how other big brands are leveraging gifts, and how I can help smaller brands, influencers, creators to create their own custom animations to be able to interact, but also to teach people on social media how to use the gifts that are already out there. So I was looking this up today, Ryan, that there are at least over 40,000 gifs on Giphy that are movies that you can use on your content. And so anyway, so I just thought that was I was trying to look through it from that eyes. Now they do have to type in the word movie, attach that to the GIF for it to show up. So I have a feeling there's probably more than that there. But no, I found it really interesting, and I've been able to help people kind of start to think about them in a different way. So anyway, and I do pronounce it GIF because I'm a verified artist with Giphy. And they did a whole campaign actually with Jif peanut butter, where they made a series of GIFs that was Jif is for peanut butter, GIF is for Giphy. Now, I know that Steve Wilhite, who created GIFs in the 1980s, actually came out and told people how to pronounce it, but it was about 13 years after it had been out there. And so that's why there's confusion around it, because people were already pronouncing it GIF before he came out and said they were pronouncing it GIF before he came out and pronounced it GIF. But I love the like back and forth. I think it's a part of the culture of it to be able to have that back and forth with it. Like I love the Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck one where they're like ripping down duck season, bunny season, but it goes back and forth between GIF, 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 GIF. Anyway, so it's definitely one of my favorite cult classic parts of this world I'm in. But anyway, back to you.
Well, please forgive me because I've been using the word GIF this entire time, so I've been
No,
doing
you
it
can
wrong.
do it. I'm all for it. Go for it.
GIFs.
It's the correct way according to the creator of them. It's just he was a little late in telling us how to say it.
Okay. I mean, I can always try to pronounce it the other way when I'm talking with friends in the behind the scenes area of certain studios or in chat rooms, whether it's I'll do my best, but for the most part, I'm always used to saying the word GIF so much because we've had Simply Jif peanut butter in my home. We've had it for years and years and years and years and years, and I'm just thinking to myself, oh yeah, post this GIF. That'll make someone laugh. Like, what do you mean peanut butter? No. It's just one of those things.
I guess I just wanted people to know we were talking about the same thing. GIF and GIF. We're talking about the same thing.
Yes, things that are shown and used to people's advantages on social media. That is very true. So, what do you consider to be some of the rewards about being a GIF creator?
Well, actually, my favorite part about it is bringing joy anywhere you can. And because anytime you can get someone to feel something in connection with whatever it is you're trying to express or say, you build up that know, and trust that we always hear about on social media, etc. But you're building these threads, and you're showing a little bit of your humor, your personality, etc. So I love adding that little bit of humor alongside of everything. So especially like in the DMs on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, just being able to use them to liven up a chat, whether text messaging. I mean, I have like a family group text that is we just send gifts back and forth to each other. And so it's another form of communication and language that we're using, but it can create a quick emotional connection. Because you think if a picture's worth 1,000 words, then having this little moment is these. So a GIF is graphic interchange format. So what it is it's showing a series of pictures in a row, and it's looping that. So even if you are watching a video GIF, it's still very much like a flip book or old school animation, where it's broken it down into frames that it's just looping through. So if you've ever opened up an email and anything is changing color or moving, that's not a video, because videos you actually have to click on to get them to start. But GIFs will just start playing because they'll start looping in. But bringing joy is definitely my favorite part about doing this.
No, absolutely. On the flip side of it, though, what do you say what would you believe to be some of the biggest challenges about being a GIF creator?
Oh, my favorite one is, so Giphy is serving up 3 different libraries, and they fuel the back end of most social media apps. So when you're going to search within Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Slack, all of these different ones, you're actually accessing Giphy libraries. So you asked what the most difficult thing is, and Instagram stories, there's a place for you to search GIFs and GIF stickers to add to your stories. If you use the little happy face sticker guy at the top, you can find all those stickers there. But the problem is that Giphy resizes them to be quickly uploaded through the Instagram search engine. So a lot of times they get compressed. So I'm sure you've probably opened up a GIF or two and it's so pixelated or so blurry that you can't really do much with it. But that is because of those 2 things talking to each other. So that's probably one of the most frustrating parts, is that it's the quality of them. You want them to be super clear, all of this thing, but they get processed through so many different things after they leave the nest that it gets really frustrating to put out there. So that would be my answer for that one.
Yeah, jeez. Just a bummer when that happens.
Right.
They're not focused. Focus on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jeez. I will say this though about GIFs, is that we had an interview. I had the opportunity to moderate, I should say, a panel during the course of the Multiverse Fundraiser 2023, which was presented by Back in the Stereo Box, which you can find on the Phoenix Sisters Cosplay YouTube channel. The panels have been broken up into those 1-hour segments, so you can find the individual panels there. I was able to moderate an interview with a veteran actor by the name of Victor Garber, who's been in hit movies such as Titanic. He was on the TV shows Alias. He was on DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And when I was promoting his upcoming appearance on the Multiverse Fundraiser, it was after the fact. I was saying, hey, in case you missed it, here it is right here, right? I searched for Titanic GIFs, and one of them was the scene where Mr. Andrews hears the rumbling, and he looks up at his chandelier, and it's Victor Garber. I'm like, that's perfect. That's a perfect GIF to put in that Instagram story, because you're letting people know that this is the character, or this is the individual that we interviewed at one point, and here he is looking up, and this is a scene from Titanic.
Yep.
So I thought that was brilliant on GIF's part. I just thought that was really good.
Exactly, because you can so one thing I love is being able to make that connection, especially through the movie GIFs and the TV GIFs, because a lot of times people know the context of what that's coming through as. So for instance, if I'm somebody posts something about dropping an ice cream cone, well, I think about the fact of how it must be so sad that happened. So when I type in devastated or sad or something, a lot of times the ones that are served up first are these movies that we know or these television shows that we know. So I might send one of Ariel on her little rock crying her eyes out, just to kind of match that. Because I think about when I'm trying to choose a GIF to send, subject for subject. So they are watching Star Wars, so I'll send them a Star Wars GIF. But if it's something like this where it's something emotional, I'll think about the emotion behind it and then send something that is an analogy to me of what they must be feeling in that moment. And I know people do this without even thinking now, but on the side of when I'm trying to help businesses, brands create their own GIFs, getting them to think along those lines of how do you want to connect with your audience. And so what are ways that we can connect emotionally in those ways? I know that sounds like really like squishy, but it really is powerful to be able to make those connections emotionally over
Absolutely,
these
absolutely.
digital waves.
Of course, you mentioned squishy, and all I think of, it's a fluffy.
Yeah.
Anywho, that's from a different movie, from a different era, and a different time. But once again, we are talking with Elizabeth Doss, GIF creator, here on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this episode with all of your closest friends, because they're going to like the way they look after watching or listening to these episodes of And I Quote. I guarantee it. If you have any questions for Elizabeth during the course of this episode, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you so much for being here. But let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. We would appreciate to hear from you as we go throughout the course of this particular episode of And I Quote. With that being said, Elizabeth, do you have any special memories from being at events or meeting with people and creating their gifts and the expressions on their faces? Because I know a certain someone has been famous for over 35 plus years. So I'm just curious. Any special memories that stand out to you that start and end with Danica McKellar or otherwise?
Yes. So I came to know this one influencer on Instagram. His name is Carlos Whitaker. And he does amazing work, and he's constantly out there trying to get people that don't want to talk to each other to talk to one another, and also to love on people. Anyway, but he is actually friends with Danica McKellar. So one day when Carlos was using the GIFs that I'd created for him, I made him a series of video reaction GIFs. So it's him like surprised or like saying thank you or and so all these things. So he had posted about it, and I guess Danica McKellar, who played Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years, saw those gifts and wrote to him and said, hey, who did these for you? And so he sent her my way, and I like I was like giggling. I was just like, wait, what is happening here? So Danica, receives a lot of DMs and other things, and she wanted a way that she could genuinely show up for people as they were sending her kind messages and those things. And so we created a series of video reactions of her saying, oh, thank you, or her like being excited or clapping or being appreciative, but she also uses them where she points to things, but she also uses the sticker versions of those on her Insta stories to grab attention. And when it pops up and people see her face, obviously they know immediately who this is and what she's about. And so she's really been enjoying using those. But we've also made a couple of them that are like for her regularly scheduled content. So I know she's over on the Great American Family channel, and she does a little video program called Bits of Joy. And so we made gifts that are like, you think about like the Tonight Show, and they have this regular scheduled segments like hashtags on Jimmy Fallon, mean tweets, Jimmy Kimmel, even like The Price is Right, Plinko. They have these like title cards, but we created gifts that she can use on that content so people recognize it as that. And finally, she has several books out there, and so we created gifts of her books. So anytime she's promoting a signing that she's doing or a new book that's come out, we have these little animations where it's just the book opening and closing, so that she can show off the book when she's talking about them on her social media. But it was wild to get the emails from her and the back and forth. The other funny thing is, I've worked with a lot of people doing their video reactions. Can I just say, when someone's a professional actress, how much better those gifts are, because it's basically silent film. It's like a Charlie Chaplin. So you need the exaggerated facial expressions and gestures and things. They need to be a little bit over the top for it to translate well and not feel stiff or fake. And so I was very impressed with her acting ability. I know that sounds like really silly, but but yeah, it was incredible to work with her.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And Keisha Acuff chimes in. She says, hello, beautiful people. Keisha, good to see you, darling. Hope everything is well in your neck of the woods. And I hope no other creepy things are happening because you live in the middle of nowhere and you live like on an episode of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Keisha knows what I'm talking about, but it's all in good fun. We love her anyway. And once again, Keisha, congratulations on the news that you are going to have another little munchkin roaming around the house. Congratulations to you and your loved ones. So be safe out there, and we wish you the best, Keisha. Thank you. So she is a writer and an artist. So make sure you're following Keisha A Cup at A Cup Creations on Instagram. Wonderful woman, wonderful person. Yes, you're welcome. See, look at that. She's chiming in. Thank you. You're welcome, Keisha. You're welcome. You're quite welcome. I'm sure Danica McKellar were here right now. She would say, "You're welcome." Of course she would. She would drop something. Yes, she would. Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper. My gosh, what a legend, an incredible person inside and out. She's written several books, award-winning actress, award-winning writer, mathematician, all that stuff. Goodness gracious, if she, hypothetically, Elizabeth, if you and her came to our virtual studio one day, my heart would probably melt. And as Olaf once said in Frozen, some people are worth melting for.
It's true. It's true.
I'm just throwing that out there.
And she is definitely that inside and out. I will say that. We've had some really great conversations. So
we're so jello of you. Oh my God. Just insanity. But anywho, sorry, I grew up on that show. I grew up on reruns. I have all 6 seasons on DVD. I met Karen, who was it? It was Olivia Dabo, who played Karen Arnold at a Comic-Con. Wonderful woman, great person in real life. She signed my season 3 DVD set of The Wonder Years, and I have no shame because I love it. Awesome. It's great. It's absolutely, wonderful, wonderful stuff. And Keisha says, "Aw, yeah, we're getting emotional on here, Keisha. That's the thing." Gee whiz. Do you have any advice? This is a 2-part question. What advice would you give to someone who is searching for gifts? What's the best advice you would give somebody?
So the best advice would be that each GIF is keyworded. So just like there's SEO, search engine optimization, there's GEO, GIF engine optimization.
Ironic, isn't it?
It is. So when you go to type in your search term, make sure if you're only being served up the same GIFs over and over again, add an extra word to it and you'll be served up a whole different set of the library there. So if you're looking for a certain movie, add extra search terms like either the actor's name or maybe a little bit of the quote from the scene to be able to offer up a different set. Because if you just put the movie title, you'll get scenes from the entire movie. But if you're looking for something in particular, try to type out those extra words. Or if you're looking for it in a certain color, like say you want to send somebody a happy birthday, you can add, if they have if their favorite color is purple, add happy birthday purple. And it'll serve you up a series of those. Now, the people uploading the GIFs are the ones that tag them. So that's why you get some really random things sometimes when you're searching for things, because the artists are responsible. And I think people try to hijack commonly searched terms in that. So that's sometimes why weird things happen. But add the word like modern or minimalist to get some cleaner lined, or maybe because there's a lot of GIFs out there that are like roses from grandma, and you see a lot of them use those on Facebook a lot in the comments. So if you want to add the word aesthetic or minimalist, or add some extra words that millennial, I don't know, but add some extra words to it and you could get a whole different library served up. So that would be some of my advice.
It's just so wonderful. On the other side, the part 2 of this, on the other side of the fence, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become what is known as a GIF creator like yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I would start by playing around on Giphy and really getting to know what animations show up well, even how they're created. Because sometimes little sparkles and little things, they just get lost in it. And so the chunkier, the better. And so really familiarizing yourself with Giphy and how it works is a really great place to start. But there are great programs out there that you can start playing around with creating the GIFs. So even Giphy itself has places that you can create on there. So it's easy. It's easier to make the full size GIFs like you see our screen here that's like square and it's filled out. when you get into trying to make stickers, that gets a little trickier because you're playing with the alpha channel on things. And so just familiarizing yourself with that process. I mean, I taught myself online by watching videos and things of as far as some of the technical stuff, but I have a flow now that I run. I have to run the stickers that I'm creating through like 3 or 4 different programs before I get to what, and that's something I've cultivated in how I'm making them. And so, but even learning the basics of animation is a really great place to start as far as the stretch and squash, when like the ball is bouncing or drawing like a flip book, learning how to draw things that are in motion. If you're going to do the, hand-drawn frame by frame, or learning programs like After Effects where you're doing motion graphic design stuff. And that's what I use mostly for the ones I'm creating. So I hope that helps answer your question a little bit, but
no, it's all great. The more you know. See, there you go. It's like, I know, right? There's the shining star. Well, you're the shining star. I mean, look at you. Look what you've done. And you're running this small business, running this thing that you're doing. You've met some of the biggest names already in Hollywood, and it's crazy. So you're living the dream. It's just here in America.
And I do want to go back because you'd asked some of my favorite, and I felt a little led into that one, that doing Danica McKellar's, it was an amazing experience. But probably one of my favorites that I've gotten to collaborate on is working with Lego World Builder, and actually getting to draw some of the minifigures and we're partnering with Tongle, and so I got to create several Lego GIFs that are out there and you can search them. There's a little Lego photographer. He's like taking pictures because a lot of people like to pose their minifigures and take pictures of them. And so they wanted some GIFs to be able to celebrate people that are, I mean, really adults that are building Lego models and taking pictures of them and putting them out on social media. So these are little GIFs that they can add to their own content. And that's the other thing that I love to get people talking about, is that it is another type of word of mouth, because when people start to use, like, other people are using Danica's GIFs now, or the Lego GIFs. And so how can brands start leveraging that and as they teach their community to start using the ones that have been created. That's I think one of where the magic kind of happens. Because sure, the brand can put it out there, like Starbucks has their own GIFs, they could add them to their own stuff, but they've taught their followers that they can search for a Starbucks GIF and add those when they have to take a picture of their beverage. They can add a sticker to it. And so anyway, that's some of that. But
yeah, absolutely. I get it. And once again, we're talking with GIF creator Elizabeth Doss on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this episode with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for her, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, welcome and thank you for being here. With that being said, you mentioned something about Legos. Yep. Everything is awesome. So I got to ask, how many times have you listened to that song, and how many times have you watched the Lego movies on repeat?
I've watched them a couple of times, but that song, man, it gets stuck in your head. But yeah, I will say, drawing them, I was humming it a lot of the time. Everything is awesome.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team. I mean, it is. Everything is truly cool when you're part of a team, whether it's one job or another. Because it takes a team to make it takes teamwork to make the dream work, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
I'm just curious though, how many Lego sets do you have in your home?
Actually,
hundreds, thousands?
No. So we're full-time RVers, so we don't have a whole lot of room in the house for extra bits. So anyway, so I think my Legos are at my mom's house. So, but yeah, gotcha. So I don't have a whole lot of room to have extra things.
That's okay. It's funny you mentioned people building these model kits or building these things out of Legos. Follow J Bauer Art on Instagram, because he is a big fan of Legos, and he has been showing off a lot of his sets that he's put together, whether it's the Batmobile, whether it's some of the cars that have been featured in the Fast and the Furious franchise. I know he's working on a new one right now, I believe. I can't remember which set it is. Please forgive me if I can't recall it off the top of my head. But make sure you follow him at J Bauer Art. He's a wonderful artist and a huge Lego builder fan, if you know what I mean. Cool. Building stuff, yeah. Especially those cars, boy. Whew. He's got a need for speed, Elizabeth. Just look him up at J Bauer Art. Keisha says Legos are the best. according to Keisha Acuff. And she also goes on to say, the song's going to get stuck inside your head, she says.
Yep.
Everything is also... Sorry, now I got it in my head. So thanks, Elizabeth. You just made my night. But that... Gee whiz. Well, I do want to let you know, Elizabeth, that this episode and every episode of And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends at something known as Pod Decks. Now, Pod Decks are unique interview questions as well as episode starting prompts in the palm of your very own hand. So whether you are a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out our good friends over there at poddecks.com. Use the code Ryan10, that's RYAN10, Ryan10, for 10% off your first order. You're not going to want to miss out on that. So with that being said, our friends at Poddecks want to know, have you ever had a roommate? And if so, what did you hate about it, Elizabeth?
In college, I had roommates in the residential halls that I was in, and I had a roommate that would wear a lot of my clothes, and she would change clothes probably 5 or 6 times a day.
Whoa.
And then when she was done wearing them, she'd throw them in my laundry basket. And I was like, I'm over this. Like, stop wearing my clothes and changing all the time. Anyway, so that's probably something that I really, really, really hated, was I don't have money for the quarter machine to be able to be washing your clothes after. Anyway, yeah.
Ugh, gee willikers. That was rough. Yeah. So which actor or actress would play you in a documentary?
I don't know. You know, I remember a couple years ago when people were doing like the doppelganger thing as their like profile pictures.
Yes.
Well, at the time it was, and I don't know the actress's name, please forgive me, but Claire from Lost. Because my hair was a lot blonder then, but anyway, I would go with Claire.
Okay.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was Maggie Grace or was it the woman who played Belle on Once Upon a Time. I'm trying to remember her name. Was it? Oh gosh, I see her face. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I know what you mean. Claire. I think Claire was the other actress. Let us know in the chat who the actress was who played Claire on Lost, because the one I'm thinking of right now is Maggie Grace's character, but she played someone's sister, but it wasn't Claire. Gosh, what is her name? This is gonna kill me.
It's a French name. Emily de Ravin. Emily de Ravin.
Yeah, de Ravin. I think it was Emily de Ravin, something like that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes. Emily de Raven, or yes.
I should really know the name of the actress that's playing me in my made-for-TV movie. I'm just saying, but
it was Emily. Well, I pronounced it Emily de Raven, but if it's pronounced differently,
Raven,
chat, let us know. Yeah, I remember her now. She played Belle on, or was it Belle?
Yes.
Yeah, she played Belle on Once Upon a Time. Fantastic. Because
I love a good mashup. I loved. Once Upon a Time, I think went maybe too long. I think they should have like given us a really great ending, but
which they did in season 6.
Gotcha. Anyway,
the ending was great in season 6, and then they continued it in season 7, and they did it as a soft reboot. And I'm thinking, why? The show ended in season 6.
Exactly. Why are we here? What's happening?
Yeah.
But I love a good mashup like that when characters get to talk to each other that are from different universes. Worlds. Yeah.
Because Belle fell in love with the Beast. In this case, the Beast was Rumpelstiltskin.
Exactly. Yes. Who was that guy?
That guy. His name is Robert Carlyle, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Carlyle is his name. But he's a great actor. You know, I just finished watching him on the series known as Stargate Universe, where he was one of the lead actors in that. He was fantastic in Stargate Universe. And by the way, if you've never seen Stargate Universe, ladies and gentlemen, check out the show. It only lasted 2 seasons. It's 40 episodes. It's great. It's wonderful. It's available on DVD, and I know it's streaming somewhere. I don't know where it's streaming particularly. I watched it on DVD because I like to watch things on physical media, because you never know when things on streaming services are going to go away.
It's true. So, it's very true.
That's just my 2 cents. But yes, Emily de Raven would play yourself in a movie or a documentary. Oh, in a documentary, excuse me. So with that being said, our good friends here at Poddex want to know, what is one thing you wish you'd spent more time doing when you were younger?
I know this is crazy, maybe crazy for somebody who's kind of doing a career in art a little bit, but I wish that I would have drawn more. I had an art teacher in middle school that kind of I did not enjoy it. You know how when things like that you love become like whatever. So I stopped drawing I mean, not personally, I would still draw, you know, a little bit at home, but as far as honing those skills, I think I should have probably spent a little bit more time. I ended up going music routes. So I'm actually a classically trained opera. That's what I went to college for. But anyway, but here I am drawing animations. So
I mean,
drawing would probably be it.
Okay, drawing. Okay, well, perfect example. One of my brothers went to school and he got a degree in theater, and he ended up becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, so he ended up doing something that's, I mean, it's still somewhat in the realm, but at the same time, it's like complete opposite of being on stage in front of millions of people, where you're in front of a classroom with like 30 little tykes.
Yeah.
You know, telling you what to do and saying when is recess or whatever. But I think he didn't work with the little ones. He worked with like the junior high school kids, so he had a bit of
important.
different situation than some other teachers do. Which is, listen, all the power to the teachers that have to be with those kids and be with the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, when everyone's lives are changing and they're going through stages and phases and all that stuff. My hat's off to teachers, because some teachers out there, you're the real heroes. So bless your hearts.
Yes.
For doing that, because I learned a lot from some of my teachers growing up, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you, teachers, especially this is going to sound generic, by the way, but Mrs. Johnson, fantastic teacher, drama coach, drama teacher, English teacher. She's done it all. She's wonderful. She's great. You're great, Mrs. Johnson. I wish you the best, and I look forward to visiting you at some point. If not, we'll have to have a Zoom call, because you and I haven't caught up in quite a good while. So I'd like to see how you and your loved ones are doing. So there you go. Teachers, #teachers are the real heroes out there. With that being said, our good friends over here at Poddex want to know, what is something you don't mind sharing with other people?
Like something personal, or like
could be anything. Could be anything. Could be that, or could be tips on how to make a GIF, or how to do something else, or something like that. Could be anything.
I guess maybe one thing I love sharing with people is I believe that everyone is creative. It's just they may not have found the expression for that yet. So I think that there are accountants that are very creative. Maybe not illegal creative. That's not what I mean. But that are that it can come up with creative solutions. And I think we've limited the word creativity to art and music and film. You know, like it's requisitioned to this one area, and yet there is a myriad of ways that people can be creative. And I love getting people to think about their creativity maybe in a little bit different way. So that's one of my other things that I love to chat about. So.
Absolutely. No problem. No problem with that at all. No problem with that at all. Everyone has the ability to be creative in their own special way. So
yeah. Running a podcast is not easy. And I see all these things that you've done and created. Anyway, it's amazing. And so having this expression, it gives people, when you start to create, it gives other people the courage to start to create in the way that they need to express it. So whatever the glove is, there's still that hand inside that's directing, whether you're baking or business plans or, designing traffic flows. I don't know.
Architect, city planner, maybe. I don't know. Something like that, like our good friend Art Vandelay of Vandelay Industries. Anybody remember our good friend Art Vandelay from Vandelay Industries? Anybody know that? Let us know in the chat if you catch my pop culture reference, because that's one of the more popular ones.
It's like right there.
It's right there. It's right there. I know Elizabeth is going to come up with it in the backstage area once we finish up here. Who knows? Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. I'll leave that up to you. With that being said, it's okay. It's fine. Did your childhood shape you into who you are today?
Oh, very much so. Because I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida, just a little bit north of there. And, my parents were the kind that were like, get out of the house and go play. And so the getting to use our imaginations and just the different games we would play, and with the whole neighborhood and all that type of stuff, it was a very authentic, childhood running around, and stuff. Like the time that I pretended to be Mary Poppins with the umbrella and jumped out of the treehouse. It didn't go well, but I thought that it would. So my childhood was wonderful. We had a lot of fun.
So, quick sidebar question here for you, though, with all due respect. When you jumped out of that treehouse, whatever, with your umbrella, did you actually fly, or did you hurt your leg, hurt your arm? Did you have to go to an emergency room at that point? What happened?
No emergency room. I kind of knocked the wind out of myself for a minute,
boy.
but luckily my sister was there to resuscitate me with a
Okay.
spoonful of sugar. I'm just kidding. No, but she helped me. She beat me on the back till I started breathing again. So anyway, I don't recommend it, kids. You are not Mary Poppins.
No, please
One
do not.
or two.
Yeah, please do not try this at home, as the PSAs on television and radio like to tell us. Remember that?
Yes.
If you try to attempt dangerous stunts, they always tell you, don't try this at home. Leave the danger to us. Anybody remember those? Let us know in the chat. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that. I'm just thinking about that as you were sharing that with us here for the last moment or so. Oh, gee whiz. Spoonful of sugar and this and that. Mary Poppins. I'm sorry. I grew up watching other movies. Mary Poppins was not one of them.
Oh, it's okay. I wanted that ability to snap and everything clean up. Can we make that a thing?
I've never seen the movie.
What?
I've never seen Mary Poppins. Ever. Never seen it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know. I've missed out on some things. I've been living under a rock for X amount of years, folks. Listen, if you have any recommendations for certain films or TV series that Elizabeth and I should check out, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Who was
that's
that?
that's one of them, yes. I'm sure I'll have to add that to my... You know what? You're not the first person to say to me you need to watch Mary Poppins. I've heard like 6, 7, 8 other people tell me, you've never seen Mary Poppins. You got to get on that, son. I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm sorry. It happens. But on that note, if you will, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the one and only Elizabeth Doss for being our guest on this particular episode of And I Quote. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. Whether it was full of wondrous years or a spoonful of sugar, you really made an impact on this episode. So for the person who's watching or listening to this, where can they follow you on social media and all the projects you have coming up? What do you got?
Sure. I hang out mostly over on Instagram because I love teaching people how to use GIFs on Instagram. So at Izzy Inc. is my handle over there, but you can always find me on my website, izzyinkstudios.com, if you're interested in any custom animations.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us, Elizabeth. We do appreciate it. Once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Don't forget to follow me personally on Instagram and Twitter at RyanRPM5. Follow us on all forms of social media at It's Nerd Culture and on Nerd Culture channel, specifically on YouTube, because we are this close, ladies and gentlemen. We are this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And once we do, we're going to throw the most electrifying party that YouTube and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has ever seen in his entire life. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have returning favorites of yours. We're also going to have special giveaways that you're going to have an opportunity to win. So we would love your participation in that. But the only way you can do it is by clicking that like button, clicking the subscribe button, sharing this with all your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. Subscribe to our channel so we can hit 1,000. It is a magic and beautiful number, and we're going to have the most beautiful party when it does happen. Also, check us out this weekend at Farpoint Convention. Our Comic-Con Tour 2023 kicks off on February 10th through the 12th at Farpoint Convention in Hunt Valley, Maryland. I'm going to be there moderating panels. I'm going to be a guest on certain panels talking about certain properties such as Star Wars there, Elizabeth. Talking about the new era of the DC Cinematic Universe and what that could mean for our favorite and most beloved characters moving forward. Talking about panels such as 90s Kids Television, because I'm a 90s kid and 90s were the best of all time. All time. So check us out at Farpoint Convention. I will be there. I will be wearing some Nerd Culture swag, so you can find me in and around the convention hall. And please feel free to say hi to the vendors that are going to be there. There's some wonderful creatives that are going to be present, selling their work, and we would love to support them, and I think you should too. Find out more information at farpointcon.com online today. Buy yourself a ticket. #treat yourself. And come meet us, Hunt Valley, Maryland, Farpoint Convention, February 10th to the 12th. And then in March, we're going to be at GalaxyCon in Richmond, Virginia, which is March 24th to the 26th of 2023. That is going to be exciting. I'm just saying. Lots of great things coming your way. But in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified when our new videos go up, I should say. And remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth, twist the past, my memories are fading fast. Am I still missed? Who do you want me to be? Am I still missed?
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.